Summary of information items is our next order of business. So a motion to address all of the issues as we addressed them on at the time. Councillor Smith and second Councillor Doherty. First item is a verbal report from the mayor regarding the international sound system, the Grand Forks International Sound System. The GFI people, you can say, could have planned ahead better on this, but you know, we're all doing the best we can. They're pulling together a major event. The sound system really sucks. It's getting worse. I sat down with Jerry Foster, and we looked at that submission that you got on a sound system. They're still shopping on it, but if we could get on board with it at this point, what we're talking to them about is having the head of this equipment be movable, so that with the addition of a couple of speakers, because that's all you would need with these type of new age speakers, we could have a sound system for music at the park, at the facilities here that are now being landscaped. So I would urge council at this point, even though again this is really short notice, I'm not sure where the money should come from. I would suggest it being, again, a legacy activity here, that we look at our share of this coming from the SLAG fund at this point, that we commit $6,000 to share a sound system with the GFI. Councillor Doherty makes that motion. Second to Councillor Wires. You know, again, going on about it, it makes it more saleable to other groups. Yeah. We've had groups that have wanted to work out of there, but with no sound system, it's been restricted. So, Councillor Wires.
A question. So you're talking about this system being portable?
Yeah. Just the head is portable, because their speakers are way up on towers and stuff. But for a reasonable price, we can add a couple of speakers now or in the future to the head, which we could move over and store and use out of this building.
So the head is really the base of
the amplifier and all of the equalizers and that stuff. New technology means that it's probably going to be fairly compact.
Yeah, well, that sounds like
Councillor Wishagan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I regret to say that I'm going to have to vote against this, not because I don't agree with the purchase. I disagree with where the money's coming from. I believe a legacy should last a lifetime, not a few years. And therefore, I'm not opposed to the project. I'm not opposed to a new speaker system at James Johnson Park, and that's portable, but I can't support the money being taken from the SLAG reserves.
Okay, and I'm wondering if I could ask our CEO, is there any more appropriate spot that we might? I only added the SLAG fund as an afterthought.
I'm sure we could just take it from surplus version.
I could support that.
Okay. Further discussion? Okay, so what we're doing is we're basically having partners in a sound system that will work at the stage. All those in favor?
Where's the money coming from? She suggested the motion includes SLAG fund.
No, she said surplus.
But the motion includes SLAG fund.
So we just make an amendment to it?
Yeah.
Can we just do a friendly amendment?
Yeah.
Sure. I just want to know what I'm voting on.
The funds come from surplus.
Okay,
that's what we're voting on. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, moving down the list. Environment Committee. Look a minute.
Doctor.
I beefed it down further. Correspondence from Kevin Dokes regarding the dog park. Request additional amenities at the existing dog park. And that the recommendation here is that we take a close look at this point. We have made certain promises for the development of the dog park, but the budget constraints and the future maintenance costs certainly indicate that we should be looking closer at this again. No further upgrades or expansions are anticipated or approved at this time. Councillor Wishagan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. From my understanding, I believe the Dog Park Association has applied to be a delegation at our next
Yes, they have.
primary council meeting next month, and I would like to refer this until that point.
Well, and we're just receiving the report, so it gives us a chance to think about it until next meeting.
Fair enough. Then I go
Okay.
with my motion, I guess.
All right, we'll cover that with our general motion.
Okay.
And I just... BC Light Recycling Update. They've extended their acceptance program. The message from Premier Christy Clark regarding meeting with her at UBCM. Is there anyone in that would like to meet with the Premier at UBCM?
Sure.
Sure.
I'll think of something to say.
Well, this is serious. We have to make our request here, but
I'd be interested in that meeting as well.
okay. So we have two councillors who would like to meet with the Premier. Is that
Your Worship, just to remind Council that the staff, we will have to write detailed briefs on the issues that you're going to bring before the Premier. They have to be submitted well ahead of the conference.
I would like to be part of that.
okay? So it would be up to you to write the brief and to give it to our staff for digestion and review, but I don't expect that our staff would be initiating the writing of a brief.
What sort of timeline do we think? I mean, you say well beforehand. What would be the expectation to have it in by, so we could actually get together? And
I'm not sure what they're asking for in terms of the Premier.
It's usually around the third week of August.
Right.
But, and staff will certainly be available to help draft briefs, but we will need the details and the actual
From the
subject.
councillor.
Yeah.
Okay, so put your heads together on that, Councillor Rishagan.
Well, I'd like to be a part of that. I'm not sure if that was recorded, but I would suggest or ask that you also be involved. I think it's a chance for us to bring to the Premier issues that might be facing
Okay,
that for us.
how are we going to work this? Do you want to do it on the internet? We just sort of bring some ideas forward between
Yeah.
ourselves and see if we can come up with something we want to work on collectively.
Yep. I think it's just a great chance to have it here to
Okay.
the Premier.
All right, so individual initiative, we'll put it out on the wire and we can bring it forward to a formal meeting and endorse it even before the UBCM. But
Yep.
let's get the work done so the staff are not creating. Okay. From FCM, the 2014 campaign, received for information, Civic Info BC regarding the emergency provincial scene, provincial emergency scene. Regarding Civic BC, regarding meetings with the sports and cultural development. That's Ida Chong, is it? Is that who we're talking about there? And is there a similar desire to meet with Ida? We could express that over the internet as well.
Okay.
The minutes from the June 21st Environment Committee meeting and the meeting task list from our staff on those completed and in progress. That's the list. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried? Okay. Stuff here.
Okay, ByLaws.
This is normally where I get lost for a few minutes. We have some bylaws this evening. The first bylaw is number 1934. This is final reading. Oh no, I'm sorry. 1934 is 3 readings. We have given it 3 readings, so we're giving it final reading tonight. That's to latecomer agreement, how much we charge people when they're coming into a service after everybody else. So can we have final reading for
I'll move,
bylaw 19?
I'll move the final reading.
Councillor O'Doherty, second by Councillor Wershagen. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item is our water bylaw, and again, it is final reading. We've given it 3 readings, bylaw 1938. Councillor O'Doherty, Councillor Smith, discussion, final reading. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And our sewer rates bylaw 1939. Motion for final reading. Councillor Kendall, Councillor Doherty. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Council. The next is a corporate officer's report. Council consider giving first and second reading to bylaw 1935. This would bring it to a public hearing. And can I have the motion for first reading? Councillor Wershagen, Councillor Kendall, all those in favor. And second reading, Councillor Doherty, Councillor Wires, all those in favor. Thank you. And the next item is bylaw 1936. Again, this is to bring this matter before the public, and we have first and second readings of the bylaw this evening. Councillor, starting to break down. Bylaw 1936. Councillor Smith, Councillor Wires, all those in favor. And second reading of bylaw 1936. Councillor Smith, Councillor Doherty, all those in favor. Thank you, Council. And we have a late item, which is the slag pile geotech report. And I'm not going to try to wing that. I wonder if our CAO would give us a short on that.
Thank you, Your Worship. On Monday of last week, we noticed some sinkholes and crevices developing on the slag pile property, and we know that this is a result of the saturated ground we have from the enormous rainfall that we've received in the last 60 days. Due to these concerns, we received the advice of the geotech. We did hire a geotechnical engineer that came to the site and assured us that the risk of any material falling into the Granby River was very, very low. To that end, we have now received the geotechnical engineer's detailed report, and it does come with some comments and recommendations. And one of these recommendations is to conduct a further investigation known as a geophysical survey, which is done with some pretty specialized technology. There is a group out of Burnaby that is available to do it. The cost for this investigation is between $5,000 and $10,000, and because it is a recommendation of the geotech's report, staff would recommend that we proceed with this, and at this cost, with it being funded from the slag fund as it is to do with the slag property.
Councillor Doherty makes that motion. Councillor Wershagen seconds it. Discussion. So it's a bit of a range in there, but I think it allows our staff to move quickly to get this satisfied and to ensure that we're taking a responsible road, and again, the funding of it coming out of the slag pile itself. That's understood. Ready for the question on this? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And Your Worship, perhaps the comments and recommendations of the geotechnical engineer We plan to put in a press release, and it will be issued sometime before noon tomorrow morning.
Excellent. Thank you. Questions from the public and the media? We are open to anyone approaching the bench.
Good evening. Mona Matei with the Boundary Central Online News. And just a follow-up question to your regional district report, Your Worship. With regards to the animal control contract, is it being re-tendered at this point, or is this just a discussion?
Well, it is being tendered. I don't know whether you'd call it re-tendered, but it was tendered how many years ago? 3 years ago? Mm-hmm. And is being tendered again. So this is the rollover of it.
I guess what I was kind of getting at is whether the current contractor has decided not to continue or has been terminated in any way?
No, he's not. He's free to bid on it as well.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Any further? Evening, sir.
Good evening. A couple of questions. First, with regard to line painting on the roads. Some of the yellow lines have all but disappeared. And what is the...
Unless our CAO can help us with this one, I'm going to be lost on it. I think we all are.
Your Worship, I'm aware of the fact that we have tendered a contract for line painting this year, and I know it's to be done in this season. I'm not sure whether it's August or September, but I will find out for Mr. Roman.
Councillor Smith, you have something on this?
Yeah, I actually saw a gal out there marking the distance and stalls there, so I see that there has been some prep work.
Maybe even July.
The one on 2nd Street
That was where I actually saw
is
it.
particularly bad.
Okay.
There hasn't been a yellow line at the intersection for months. It wasn't visible in the winter, and if you're familiar with it, it goes down and then jogs.
So it's
And people come
particularly
around there
risky there.
and cut that off all the time.
It appears that they're on it, but we'll follow up on that.
Second, with regard to planning, in the January planning workshop, one of the items was a report on rejuvenation of the business area.
Right.
And I wonder at what stage that report is at.
There was the Vision Grand Forks exercise that was followed through on by a number of volunteers. It came to a head, I think, when it was time to move forward on it with funding, and we weren't in a position to go ahead with the complexity of that concept at that stage, the way I recall it. Anyone else want to jump in there, Councillor Smith?
Just in terms of what, kind of where it's going, the EDAC, of course, kind of taken on a little bit of that as well. And we've arranged to have the executive director for the Downtown Penticton Association to come pay us a visit because of all the great things that they've done to their downtown core and how they've really brought some life back into it. And she's coming up here, this being actually her old stomping grounds. Her name's Barb Haynes, and she's going to be up here on the 21st. So we're working on exactly what kind of a meeting it's going to be. If we're going to, just include business owners and property owners downtown, and see what kind of ideas we can kind of throw together, and then that refers back to the EDAC, and then the EDAC would make recommendations or advise council further to that. So
there's several months left on that. It wasn't until December 2012 that a report had to be available. So, if I understand you correctly, it hasn't really got off the ground yet.
What? Well, I guess maybe I'm confused as to what.
Well, I think we're talking the formation of a downtown improvement district.
Yeah.
And moving forward with looking at some funding or some tax relief approach to improvements. That's still on the books. And no, we haven't got too far on it, but I think it's being considered at different levels around the table.
A final question, Mr. Mayor, related to that planning. Some many months ago, I think it was the last council, approved of bicycle racks strategically located in the downtown area.
Yeah.
Has that been quashed, dropped?
I don't know where that is, but you can help us.
It's still on the plan, but we have no funding for it right now. But it is on the capital plan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's in the capital plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further this evening? Seeing no one coming forward, a motion to adjourn.